time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Feel, don't think.
Fear is my ally.
The Force will be with you.
We are encouraged to love.
Be mindful of your thoughts.
I will not betray the Republic.
Hey, your worship, I'm only trying to help.
Scruffy-looking nerf herder!
I'm not afraid.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
So, I'm going to preface this video with a reminder that the public reason for firing Victoria Alonso was because she helped produce a movie for another studio. And while the real reasons were toxic work environment, probably abuse, incompetence, etc., the public reason was she went over Disney's heads and helped produce a movie that was not being made by Disney. So this is where we're going. It's showtime. Racehorse Doc headed to big screen as Twister's producers, the Kennedy Marshall Company, options feature film rights. This is another project Kathleen Kennedy is now involved in that is not a Disney project. Okay, if you go look on her IMDb page, she has a lot of projects that are not Disney projects. So what's going on here? All right, publicly, it seems like she's expanded her projects that don't include anything to do with Lucasfilm. It's Showtime. It's a real-life tale of a group of friends from Darlington in the northeast of England who collectively bought a bargain racehorse without any sort of pedigree after one too many drinks. And the documentary aired in England in April, and now Showtime Mahomes, which these guys named after Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City quarterback, this horse started winning races, and when you have a horse that's like sort of a blue-collar horse, in England of all places, and they start winning races, that's, it's owned by normal people, not, the King of England, not, Princess Anne, not the Aga Khan and everybody else. It's a BFD. It's a big fucking deal. And so it captured got rave reviews, and now the Kennedy Marshall Company is going to turn it into a feature film. The horse in the picture right here, that's Kay. That's my horse, my racehorse. She's a retired racehorse. And her and April enjoying the spring sunshine. They're developing this incredible true story for the big screen. It's the right story for today, bringing heart, humor, and real emotion to this thrilling against all odds sports story, said Marshall. Kennedy is not being talked to about this. And it's we'll go through this. Showtime's journey sees the classic British underdog make good in the power of friendship. We admire Kennedy's prestigious track record and are very excited to see this heartwarming true story brought to life for movie audiences, said Echo Velvet CEO Alexander. So you gotta ask, this is Kay again. I'm standing underneath her, but you can't get me in the picture. And here we are working in the arena. She's a big girl, by the way. She really is. So where does Kennedy get the time? As the alleged head of Lucasfilm, where does Kathleen Kennedy get the time? You wonder to yourselves, right? Right? All right, so here's the problem right here. And when you're looking at this and you see that it's another thing, she's producer of Twisters, which is coming out soon. And it's weird, she came late to that. She wasn't part of the production team until like just this last year. So that looks to me like it's busy work, trying to find her something to do so she stays out of people's hair. It's very interesting to me that this has been public. Of course, they didn't interview her. So obviously Frank is the one that sort of is the lightning rod for this. Well, I don't know. I mean, I just, look, this looks like busy work. It's outside work. And if she's making a Ray movie, where does she have the time? And this is Kay, right here, defending her traits from another mayor. Now, this picture was taken a while back. And she was not having it. And she could be a real, she's a boss mayor, man. She's just like, and that's her I'm pissed off face. Stay away from my treats. I love it. So where, is the Ray movie being made? No. When World of Real says that the Ray movie is not being made anytime soon, ever, that means that speak for don't hold your breath. You're never going to see a Ray movie. That's what that is. Okay. So I think people out there have to understand that they're not going to get really what they want. I think, at least from the blue-pilled Pablo Hidalgo type of non-fan who just want to see validation up on the screen for their messed up, miserable lives, or the Leslie Headlands who want to work out family issues by using a big tentpole IP. Obviously, with the Acolyte, it's not working. It might have been trending at like 30,000 X posts on X, which is probably bots doing that, but there you go. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that something isn't right at Lucasfilm. Something isn't going the way we've been told by either the blue pills or the black pills. And again, it's Kennedy finding outside work because she's got nothing to do. There's a reason why Pablo Hidalgo is freelancing. They're not giving him anything to do. And, the rumor of a phase 3 for the High Republic, maybe they'll do it. But it seems to me like all of that stuff has quieted down. Let's talk more.
I thought one just drew a pentagram on the floor and chanted, "I summon thee," 3 times.
No, stop. Not one more crooked word. Your tongue could open a wine bottle.
Never had an agent. It's not like she worships the devil.
Well, she doesn't have to. He worships her.
Being honest with each other.
I agree.
Well, I've been doing a little digging. I've been finding out you've been holding out on me.
And I'm very sorry about that.
Well, why didn't you tell me that's where Maris's money came from?
It's never easy. Maris's money?
Yeah. I mean, you told me that Maris's family money came from timber?
It did. It did come from timber.
Oh, that's what you really think?
Well, of course, it's true.
And that's what all of Maris's friends think, too? All those country club snobs who would kill for a good piece of dirt on someone?
What are you talking about? If her family money didn't come from timber, where did it come from? Urinal cakes?
I don't believe this. All these years.
The doyenne of Seattle's elite, looking down her nose at everyone in sight. She owes it all to this. She's managed to have her urinal cake and eat it, too.
As I think we now have what's... All right, let me go talk to Maris's lawyers.
No. There's some news you want to deliver yourself. May I?
Absolutely.
Hello, Marta. Like to speak to Maris. Oh, why not? Ah. She's in the final level of her guru's serenity training, the week-long vow of silence, day 6. No, Marta, that's all right. She doesn't have to come to the phone. Just give her this message. I've flushed out her family secret. Hello, Maris.
So, where I'm going with this is what we know in the public does not jibe with what the black pills are saying about where Kennedy is at. Why, if she's still there, is she making other movies? Is she part of Twisters? Is she going to get a producer's credit on Jurassic World? Because Kennedy Marshall is making it, and Frank is there in Thailand, hanging out. All right, so, and now we've got the racehorse documentary being turned into a feature film. And as, Kennedy said to the guy interviewing her at Dodger Stadium, she just loves making movies. Okay, fine. You just can't make Star Wars movies, Indiana Jones movies, or anything like that. Ever again, okay? She was one of the producers behind Seabiscuit, which was a fine movie, but it was historically inaccurate. And in fact, if I had been Lauren Hillenbrand, who wrote the book Seabiscuit, that true story of the racehorse, I'd have been highly pissed off. No mention of the fact that Seabiscuit and War Admiral were related. War Admiral's father was Seabiscuit's grandfather. Okay. War Admiral's father happened to be the greatest racehorse of all time, Man o' War. If you bring up Secretariat, I'm going to ban your ass. Okay. We don't do steroids here. Okay. The fact that they, instead of getting a horse that was accurate for War Admiral, they went out of their way to find horses, because when they do anything with horses that are like the main subject of a movie, they have to use not one horse but 5, and or more, and they found 5 black, I would say OTTB geldings, off-track thoroughbred geldings, that were well over 17 hands. They were giants. They all could have played the Black Stallion. Okay, sorry, War Admiral did not look like that. He was actually smaller than Seabiscuit, which is how he ended up not being his owner, who owned Man o' War, not being his owner's favorite horse until he started winning. And the trainer, George Conway, who had been the barn manager for Sam Riddle when Man o' War was racing, talked Riddle into running in the Kentucky Derby, because Riddle would not. He was a snob. Racing in the West wasn't worthy, and blah, blah, just being a mid-Atlantic asshole. Okay. And they took Big Red, they took War Admiral to the Kentucky Derby, and he did something his father wasn't allowed to do, but he would have done it. He won the Kentucky Derby, and then he went on to win the Preakness. Then he went on to win the Belmont. Okay. And, the horses, those two horses were alike in many respects. Okay. War Admiral wasn't appreciated because he was so small, he resembled his mother, blah, blah, blah. But he was owned by an extremely wealthy guy who happened to own Man o' War. They didn't mention that at all. Okay. So the casting of that horse was completely wrong. And because I know horse racing, it took me out of the movie. And I thought it was great. I mean, seeing Gary Stevens play George Wolfe, who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest jockeys of all time, was really great to see. Gary Stevens is one of the greatest jockeys of all time. But, so I'm looking at this documentary here, wants to turn into a theatrical release, a feature. And I'm like, don't do any of the representation shit, please. Do that. Deviate from the story, because the story itself is fine as it is. It doesn't, look, true stories are better than fictional stories in lots of ways. I mean, the real story of Seabiscuit and War Admiral was very much a better story, because both horses had their issues with size and, Seabiscuit's first owners, Claiborne Farms, didn't appreciate him. And when he went to his new owner and the cowboy trainer, Tom Smith, took him, then they tapped into whatever secret place his inner man of war, Big Red, was hiding. And he went from being this horse, plain little bay horse, to a fucking juggernaut. Okay, a knife fighter on the racetrack. War Admiral was always a knife fighter on the racetrack. But he was so small, nobody gave him a chance except for his trainer until he showed them he could run. Okay, so you could have played off the horses like that, and they didn't do it. And the fact that they're related to each other, because Man of War was very much alive in them. Okay, but again, I'm worried about Kennedy and her politics getting involved, and of course it's a story about these guys who get drunk. They buy a racehorse with no pedigree, with no standing, and the horse starts winning. Okay, I don't want that part of the show to get covered up in politically correct garbage. Okay, I don't. Okay, and that's what I worry about when Kathleen Kennedy's sniffing around. Okay, and again, everybody needs to ask the black pills, and I mean ask them, get in their faces, and get in the faces of the blue pills. When is she going to have time to make the Ray movie? This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.